everyone. So we're here live. Surprise, surprise. Happy New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's Eve. And let me see, I'm going to start sharing this and, sending it along to everyone. Hello. Happy New Year's Eve. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me see how I do this. We're going to discuss something fun and different. And I don't know how okay. I guess you can't do that on this way. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. I want to talk about something seemingly harmless. Seemingly harmless. So, a harmless looking thing that destroys progress. So, good evening, Miriam. I hope everyone can hear me well. Can everyone hear me well? Somebody let me know because I'm trying something different with the mic and just wanting to make sure that everyone can hear me. So, many blessings. Good evening to everyone. If someone could say, hey, we can hear you, that would be awesome. That would be really awesome so that I know that everyone can hear this thing going on. So, bonsoir, Craig. Hope you're doing well. Let me know if you can hear me good. So, today, what I'm going to discuss is harmless looking thing that destroys progress and how, it seems like it's harmless. Hi, Goddess Mother. Okay, so let me see. Is that better? Can you hear me better? No running water. I don't know what it is with me and Michael. Seem like we like each other. Okay, so I'm gonna try to talk louder and see if that works. I was trying to see if I could hook up this mic to work better in some different way because I was pretty sure it was just rubbing up against my beard. But background static. I think it's a Facebook thing to tell you the truth because I really don't often have. I'm gonna see if just holding the mic works better. So today I want to discuss a harmless looking action that destroys progress. So this harmless looking action that destroys progress. Oh, okay, that's the magic right there. This harmless looking action that destroys progress. First, what I want to do, I want to tell you a bit of a story about how it works. So, we have someone, and her name is Maria. And Maria's a good person. Maria's someone who's really trying to improve her life. And so, Maria, in improving herself, you know, she's over there and she's holding a garden. And so I want you to think of your life like this, like a garden. And Maria's trying to Maria's trying to grow her life in a good way. So she's there trying to grow a tree. And she takes her time. And anybody who's ever grown plants, or if ever you've done something for a long term that takes a lot of care and nurturing, understands how long this process is of growing a plant. So in the beginning, Maria goes ahead, she's really like watering that seed, working that seed, trying to get that seed to sprout. Once it finally does sprout, she plants it in the ground, right? Where she begins to feed and nurture the seed and care for it to grow. And hello, everyone who's recently come in. So she cares for and she nurtures that seed for growth, right? So that she can begin to grow that tree. And that tree is similar to your progress, right? So after some time, Maria is successful in growing that tree, and that tree starts to grow nice and strong. And when a tree has above and beyond what it needs, it starts to flower. So through a lot of energy, a lot of work, Maria has invested in that tree in order to get that tree to grow. And when that tree has finally reached a certain point in its growth, it begins to flower. And so Maria is enjoying the flowers, right? And so the tree starts to give off many different flowers with many different fragrances. And Maria's like, yeah, I've done really good. I've done really well, right? My tree is flowering. I've achieved my goal or my aim, right? But as Maria sits there and takes in the flowering, little by little, she stops taking care of the tree and she stops nurturing that plant and often decides, like, it's taken me so much work to get here, I'm just gonna take a break. I need a break because it's taken me so much work to get to this point, right? And little by little, without realizing it, in the taking of that break, things start to deteriorate. The tree eventually stops flowering. And little by little, the tree starts to shrink and stops growing further and further. It little by little starts to shrink as it starts to lack the care and nurturing. And when Maria wants to go back in to go ahead and start taking care of the tree, she's always going to be like, hey, babe, maybe I'll start tomorrow. Maybe it's better for me to go ahead and tomorrow because today it's raining. Or today I don't really feel like it. Or today it's not going so well for me. And in taking that break, little by little, she's lost all the progress of her plant growing and developing into what she wanted it to be and being sustainable and maintaining itself, continuing from growth to growth to growth. So I started to think about this earlier because I took a little break from working out simply because, hey, it was the holidays, right? So I took a little break from working out. You know, I needed to start working out again. And what I realized at that point, right in there, was that I really had to push myself today to get that workout done. And it's the same thing. It's like when someone goes on a diet and then they're like, let me enjoy the fruits of my labor and I'm going to take a break from my diet, right? They take a break and then after some time, it's like now they have to push themselves to restart all over again, resolving and working back on the diet. A lot of times it takes even more. I'm pausing here and there because Facebook is telling me it needs to reconnect and stuff, taking more work in order for that to occur, in order for one to go ahead and get back on the horse and get back on the diet. So this is really important is that it's a law, right? The law is that that which is in motion, it's going to stay in motion. Things that are moving forward stay progressing forward, right? But that which is not in motion, that which is standing still, will continue to stand still. So when you put that stop, right, or when you take that break, a lot of people take a break spiritually. They take a break for many different reasons, but really what you're taking a break on is yourself. You're taking a break on love, life, magic, and freedom, on achieving your own goals, right? you end up taking a break and it starts to make it really difficult to gather that momentum and that regularity that happens when you have been making good progress and good momentum. And so, a lot of times, a break is one of those harmful practices that it seems harmless, but it's really detrimental to progress, right? It's really detrimental to progress because it seems like it's something harmless. But it's the same thing like when the time to grow that plant, right? And then you take a break from taking care of that plant. When you take a break from bonsoir, when you take a break from working that plant, right? What's going to happen is little by little, that plant is going to cripple and shrivel itself up. And when you come back to it, you're going to be starting from a lower point than where you left it. So a break, right, very often looks very harmless. But I'm going to tell you something that's true, but it can be hard to hear sometimes. You've taken a break from yourself pretty much your whole life already, right? If you're not making those moves and attaining those goals that you want to attain and really reaching and receiving those things, basically love, life, happiness, freedom, you've already taken a very long break from yourself, right? And this is something that you may want to consider that you really need to take a look at in 2021 on when are you going to stop giving up on yourself or putting yourself last, right? When are you going to stop taking a break from yourself and what your true goals and desires are, right? And when you take a break spiritually, a lot of times what happens, many things happen. And I'm going to just tell you from my own experience, like basically a lot of times when one is under the umbrella and it's raining, after a while it's very easy to forget that the reason you don't feel the rain is because of the umbrella. So, what I mean to say in this is this, and a lot of people have seen this, experienced this, right? Is right. I would think that I got to a certain point where I was good, like I was doing pretty good, right? And arrogance lets you have that idea, and that I had did pretty good and really pretty well for myself, right? And so I took a break and stopped working so heavily with my spiritual master, right? And when I stopped working so heavily with my spiritual master, a lot of things started to fall apart. And even things that I thought I was doing pretty good with started to fall apart because what wasn't seen and something that's not seen, right? If you're working with a spiritual master, really, and you're a disciple, and all of my disciples can say this, right? If you're really a disciple of a spiritual master, how much light, how much that umbrella is covering the rain for you, right? If you're working with a real spiritual master, there's a lot in the work that you may think you've achieved because you feel good and you've done some work, but it's not actually all you. And so when you take a step away from the spiritual master, because you're taking a break, right, things start to kind of crumble because you are not yet at that point where you have created that foundation and that strength. And here in the West, there is a really big problem for people in committing to a spiritual master and really making that commitment. A lot of people want to have many teachers. Oh, my one teacher, my other teacher. Okay? A dog that follows many masters gets nowhere. Right? Someone who's trying to run in 10 different directions behind 10 different people doesn't arrive anywhere. Right? And I had a number of conversations today where I could see where I would do this. right? Back in the day where I used to do this all the time, where you get to a good point, and so you think you've achieved that good point yourself, but you're still under the mantle, you're still under the umbrella of the master. And so a lot of things that are going on for you are because of the master. So you're like, I'm going to take a break. I think I understand. I think I kind of got some of it handled. And then, once I come back around, because I realize I don't, right? Again, things start to improve, get better. I'm making progress. Things are progressing step by step, more and more and more. And then again, I might fall into that illusion again. Like, yeah, now I've reached there, right? And then again, because simply being in the presence of a spiritual master, simply being able to communicate, be in the presence of a spiritual master really does change you. Okay? It really does set certain energies in you right. However, there's something called time. And it takes time for those building blocks and those foundations to be strong enough to support you and for you to have them for yourself. If you hear me pausing here and there, it's because of Facebook. So it takes some time. And so I would go ahead and basically be like, yeah, I kind of got this. I kind of understand. I'm good. I'm gully, right? But in reality, it's because I was good because there was a lot of unseen work and unseen energy that was actually carrying me. And anyone who's ever been a true disciple knows how this works, right? If you're a mystic, and if you haven't already hit me up to join the Mystic Mavericks, you should. It means that you know that your life is worth something more, that you're here for a purpose. You might not know what that purpose is, okay? But you know that there's a purpose for you, and that, you want it to be time in your life. It's time for love, life, laughter, magic, and freedom, right? If that's you, hit me up. You have to like my Hungan Hector Facebook page so that I can send you the invite. Facebook, workaround thing. I don't know. So that you can join us in the Mystic Mavericks, because what it is here in the West, a lot of times people don't want to make that commitment because they have the fear, right? You have fear. And so you don't make the commitment to a particular spiritual master without discipleship. And any of the ancient mystery schools, okay, that's what we are with the Mystic Mavericks, is a mystery school. Any of the ancient mystery schools will tell you the same thing, is that this is what's needed in order for spiritual illumination and progress to happen, which will bring about awakening, which will bring about that love, that life, right? So a lot of times it's seen as if something unfavorable in the West, which makes no sense, because it wouldn't be unfavorable, right, if you didn't know how to cook and you went to chef school. Okay? If you don't know how to cook and you want to be a chef, you go to chef school. You learn how to be a cook. And then you cook good. And that's how you do things, right? And it was the same thing since ancient times, mystery schools, right? Which led the mystics to the mountain of enlightenment and awakening so that you could be woke. So your purpose, your love, your life, laughter, and bliss, right? So a lot of times, what I came to realize was actually how much my own master was doing for me, and how much I was actually under the umbrella, even at times in which, I'm always this technology stuff. Even when I didn't think or know I was under the umbrella, it was only until I had reached certain points that I could come out from under the umbrella and things would only go but so down, right? Because that's what a master disciple relationship holds. It holds in the master, there's fluids in our tradition, right? In our work, that it's called fluids, light that passes from one to the other that actually shifts and supports the change. And what I also realized is that when people take breaks, and when I took breaks, myself included, when I would come back from the break, I would be no better than I was before, in the same situation that I was before, or a little worse off, which meant I had to rebuild and rework through a piece of work that I had already done before, but I was going to have to do it again. So what I realized was it was better for me to not take breaks, right? Just like with this whole exercise thing I discussed earlier, it was better for me not to take breaks and to do so consistently. A lot of times with exercise, people tell you to take a break every like few weeks or something. What I realized is when you take a break, you lose the power of the law of momentum, right? And then you're going to really struggle. And the body is lazy, right? The body wants to conserve energy. That's how it's supposed to be, right? So, like, I took this little time, and so I really had to push myself to start exercising and working out on the weights again today. And it took a lot of pushing, but I did it because that's something else that there is about mystics is that we often do what's uncomfortable for others. So that was one thing I realized. The second thing I realized was that no matter what the cost was for me personally, I had to be with my master as much as possible. And that would be either getting lessons, getting consultations, seeing in ways that I could assist, in ways that I could be around, right? Because so much is learned by actually being a disciple. So much is gained through discipleship. So much is understood and seen over time via discipleship. And how much I had to give credit to and what was being done for me, whether or not I could always see it or understand it right off the bat. But that's an area where what it takes is a level of commitment. And that commitment is not just to the master, but it's actually to myself, right? To make a commitment that I was worth having love, life, laughter, freedom, joy, and happiness, right? And then it was easy. With that shift, it became easy to understand and to see all the various ways this thing was working. So this has clarified for you some things. Maybe it's confirmed some suspicions, right? Like I said, I've spoken with a number of people in the various days who were coming back and they were like, yeah, Papa, like I took a break here or took a break there because of this, and that was the worst thing I ever did. Right. And I can see that now because I was doing so well, but I could see that actually there was a lot you were doing for me or a lot going on behind the scenes that I had no clue about and how much value it was for me to be making regular progress. Because just like that tree, right? If you're not continuously watering it, providing it sun, if you're like, hey, today it doesn't need sun, next week it doesn't need that much sun, eventually it's going to start to shrivel up and die. The space as well to grow and gain its height and its width, right? So that was said to me like over and over throughout the last probably 2 weeks, I would say. And what we came to, show or reveal for them, what was revealed for them was how on and how much was being done and, everything else that goes into regular progress. So it really looks like it's something harmless, but it's actually harmful because it kind of brings you back down a notch and you're kind of like doing this rather than doing this. Rather than steadily progressing, you'll do this. I know because I've been there, right? You'll do this, you'll do this, you'll do this, you'll do this instead of this. And if you're one of my disciples and you're in that situation, reach out, right? And see how we can work something out for you, right? So many people have told me, like, I just need to be in regular contact with you. I need, to have regular contact with you. There, we will work something out so that you are making, even if it's something. Because we say, instead of cursing the darkness, light a candle, right? Do something instead of doing absolutely nothing. A lot of times it's like, I'm not going to do anything unless everything is absolutely perfect. If you're waiting for that, you're going to be waiting for a long time, right? So doing something is better than doing nothing, right? When you think about that 10,000-mile journey, you don't need to worry about the 10,000 steps. You need to worry about that first step. Taking that first step is worth thinking about those 10,000 steps for a million years. That single step is worth more than any thinking about steps that you could take, right? And lastly, stop procrastinating on you. Life is really short, okay? And a lot of people take it for granted that it's going to last longer than what it usually does. If you throw yourself at 70, meaning if you're going to die at 70, do the math of how many years you have left. Then tell me how much you could live, how long you could live if you had that many dollars in your pocket. If you had $30, $40 in your pocket, because that's how many years you have left. Life is short. It doesn't wait for anyone. So commit yourself to yourself, especially in this 2021. Happy New Year's, all you guys. I'm doing red this year. Happy New Year's. Wishing all of you a happy New Year's this year and stay really blessed, because this 2021 is a year that you can turn things around. Okay? There's going to be a lot of luck flowing. Right? There's going to be a lot of luck flowing, and you can tap into it if you know how and get that thing working. Right? So it was awesome being here with you guys today. Keep the faith, and until next time, right? Until 2021, stay blessed and not stressed, okay?